What's going on, everyone? It's Alex Miller from the Eagle, joined by Travis L. Brown, who is live in Hoover, Alabama, this time at the Winfrey Hotel, where day two of SEC Media Days has just wrapped up. Travis, what's the status over there?
Lots of live shots happening, lots of people chit-chatting. Lane Kiffin was the last guy to go in the electronic media room, I believe. So he just wrapped up there. And, just lots of people talking some ball. It's talking season, like we said. Also, don't call me Travis.
Don't call you Travis. Did you bring the
I mean,
guitar?
I'm just pulling my best Deion Sanders impersonation.
Oh,
I want you to respect me like Robert Cessna and don't call me Travis. Anyway, for those of you listening on
anyway.
the podcast, I just walked off and pulled my bestie on Sanders. But anyway,
Yeah, Dion,
yes,
Coach Primetime trying to steal the show on the other side of town. Um, at SEC Media
I,
Days,
I,
though. Oh, go ahead.
I did win a guitar last night though. You aren't wrong.
That's what I
We were
heard.
Dave and
Maybe,
Buster's. There were
maybe on Thursday we can get Travis to play a little song, a little ode
no.
to SEC Media Days. We'll work on that.
Well, here's the problem. It doesn't hold a tune because it's really cheap. But if
Okay.
you have 8,000
Excuses,
tickets,
excuses.
if you have 8,000 tickets that you got at Dave and Buster's with a freebie card that was given as like a media gift, and your two options are a duffel bag and an acoustic guitar, like you pick the acoustic guitar, right? I'm not wrong here, right?
I mean, sure. As long as you
I mean,
take it
it's
to
a
Gabriel's for karaoke.
that's what me and Brent are going to work on a duet for the karaoke night.
Anyway, back to football. Um, seemed as if they saved the best for last today, and that was Lane Kiffin taking center stage. Um, you know, lots of lots of fun bits. Him referring back to his time at Tennessee, singing Rocky Top all night long in the swamp. You know, um, I guess how lively was Lane Kiffin? It's kind of the first time he's been able to appear in front of the masses as Ole Miss's head coach.
This is going to be a good angle of my column from today, in that it's been since what Les Miles was here that there's actually been like a really great personality that takes the stage, and kind of that guy that when he's waiting in the wings and Greg Sankey's introducing him, all the media members are kind of looking at each other and starting to giggle a little bit because they know something good's about to happen. Not to mention a guy that they know has some personality and will demonstrate his personality. So there was some pretty, a lot of questions about his Twitter. Someone even asked him how he was losing weight because he mentioned that. Just crazy. The best moment from him of all was someone asked him about Bryce Young, the Alabama quarterback. Nick Saban had said earlier today, I believe at the Texas High School Coaches Association conference, that he believes that he's nearing seven figures in NIL deals before he's even played a snap. And when Lane Kiffin was told that as part of a question, it kind of took him aback a little bit. And then about four questions later, our good buddy Olin Buchanan from Texags raised his hand and was asking about the health status of some of their players. And he kind of didn't even listen to him. He just kind of, when Olin was done, said, "I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about that $1 million. I need a moment," and then kind of answered his question. So yeah, he was great, and it's good to have a kind of a personality like that back here, because I mean it's only day two right now, but there is a lot of the coach speak and the answers kind of blend together and drone on, and you get a little sleepy, and that was a good way to kind of wake up in the afternoon. But there was a lot of good funny stuff that happened today.
Yeah, tell. Can you tell some more funny stories, if you may?
Yeah. So really, it was the two Kentucky guys that were really kind of making the jokes. And the first one, I should have brought their names over here because I just forgot them. That's what a phone's for, right? So the Kentucky guys were pretty good, cracking stuff up. First, start off with Darian Kennard, who, big guy, just big built guy. I think he was 6'5", 200 300 and something pounds. And someone asked him about his relationship with his mother, and he said, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I'm pretty confident I can say I love my mother more than any of you love yours. So he's kind of putting into question all of our loves for our mother. But here's the deal: I'm not going to fight him on it because he's a really big guy. Then secondly, Josh Pasker, the defensive end from Kentucky, of course, had a great story about how he overcame cancer to come back and get to play. And I believe that part of this, he was on the Today Show, he said, or one of the major New York kind of morning shows. And J-Lo was performing then. And he got to interact with J-Lo. And he kind of told this whole story about how he was like walking up the stairs behind her, and they like made eye contact, and she winked at him, and like then he knew it was true love, or something to that regard. So that was a really funny anecdote through all of it as well. But yeah, a little bit more laid back, kind of shaking off the rust that everyone has from missing out on media days last year, and those were some of the highlight moments, at least on the funny scale.
Well, and how about Kirby Smart trying to flex on everyone that he has Quavo's phone number?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to say, who's Quavos?
Travis, are you being serious right now?
I'm being really serious. What
Okay.
is this?
All right. Gen Z explaining to millennial now.
Okay, good.
Yes, that is all that you wanted to hear today. Quavo, Travis, is a popular hip hop and rap artist that performs in a group called the Migos that is based out of Atlanta.
Oh, I am aware of the Migos.
And they are big supporters, particularly Quavo, of the home state Georgia Bulldogs.
See, okay, that makes a lot more sense. As my girlfriend will attest, I tend to like to say that I'm really up on hip current music, and then when I mention a band or a song I like, usually that band or song was popular like within the 365 days of the year 2012. So if it gets past that, I'm pretty much plumb out of luck. So thank you for informing me on the pop culture of the day.
Well, and once you're done reading all of your Washington Post articles tonight, go look up Carpool Karaoke with James Corden featuring the Migos. You will not regret it. And
Okay,
that
there
goes
you
to
go.
our viewers and listeners too.
After you
Anyway,
read, and after our viewers read theeagle.com tonight with all the great content that we have from SEC Media Days.
that's the one. Those are the rules. Speaking of rules, we heard from the SEC rules official today, and he had some interesting things to say. Travis,
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Okay. Travis, can you just kind of take through what we heard from him in the middle of the day?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Some years you get some big rule changes in the way that they enforce targeting, or the way that you can cut block, and some really, really big deals. This year, it's in between rule change cycles, and so there's not a whole lot of really earth-shattering stuff. The major things were last year, of course, they extended the coaching box from the 20 to the 20 to the 15 to the 15 as to spread out for COVID. That's just going to be a permanent change. So sidelines will be a little bit bigger for the teams, a little bit fewer, maybe fewer field passes can get handed out to fans and boosters.
Which honestly, I'm in favor of, because I feel like you have so many situations where you just see coaches flailing down the sideline just like with their handler, and then they need a timeout and they just run 20 yards to try and go tackle the referee. I mean, that's just, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, so there is that. You sometimes see the guys who wear the very long undershirt under that kind of flows out almost like a skirt. You can't do that anymore. The undershirt has to stop at the waistline, so you can't be grabbing and pulling on on there. Really the most interesting thing that is SEC Director of Officiating John McDade. He had compiled a whole lot of statistical information on last year and some of the years before, and they look at trends for lots of different things with these games nationally to kind of help determine rule changes and where the game needs to go. And just a few of those that he mentioned today. That average game across the all Division One was about 3 hours and 21 minutes. The SEC was right in there. Scoring per game average across Division One was 57.6. That's up from 56 in 2019. Overall plays per game was 181.4, which is up from 179.8. 2018 was a weird year because there was a dip in game time to 316, but plays went up to 182. And so that was just kind of an anomaly that they don't really know what to do with. But then a lot of talk about instant replays and how many stoppages are caused by that. And the average right now is about 2.5. Let's see. Yeah, it was at 2.5. It was at 2.9 in 2019, or up from 2.2 in 2019. The SEC was actually at 2.9 replay stoppages per game, but only 16% of the stoppages nationally were over 2 minutes. And so that's something they're actually going to look at a lot next year, because if the trend continues, if that rate of growth continues in instant replay stoppages, they'll be over 4 by the year 2030, and that's going to cause some issues. So they're looking maybe more at the difference between in the college game, where you have that there's a booth who's looking at every single play, looking at possibilities for replay. And that's one model. You have the NFL, where it's basically coach driven, except for in like the last 2 minutes of the halves. And that's kind of more coach initiated. And they're looking at maybe instituting or talking through a more hybrid model, where there's certain situations that might trigger different things. Like, for instance, he said, let me see if I can get this. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here. I don't know what I did with it, but they have you have different types of replays, and one is the scoring replays, and some are in between the goal lines. And if you are having to constantly stop for catch and no catch between the goal lines, that causes a lot of these replays. I think it was said it was like something like 20% of those are those in between the goal lines. And so those could be more coach initiated, whereas the scoring ones will be booth initiated, a little bit hybrid. Sorry, that was a little confusing trying to find my notes, but instant replay is something that they're probably going to be looking at a little bit more in the future.
But then we can't play my favorite game. Was it a catch?
You're the only person who likes that game. You really are. you and Des Bryant.
Just for the record, Des caught it. All right. Day 3 of Media Days is tomorrow, featuring Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher, DeMarvin Leal, and Kenyon Green are slated to speak. It's going to be a pretty jam-packed day tomorrow. I mean, you kick things off with Nick Saban, and then the back half of the day is Mike Leach and Jimbo, mixed in with Vanderbilt. So,
new coach.
Yeah, new coach. I mean, there's something to talk about with Vanderbilt. What are kind of some of the big storylines regarding A&M tomorrow that we're going to be looking at, and maybe with Alabama, who A&M's trying to chase them and get to the top of the SEC West, and then with Mississippi State, I mean, who knows where it's going to go with Mike Leach.
Yeah, name, image, likeness, of course, is something that's being asked about over and over again. I think with the news of Bryce Young's maybe near $1 million pull in NIL, that might get amped up a little bit tomorrow. So I expect a lot of that to be talked about. But you got to think, with Alabama in the building near the same time as A&M and the expectations that people have with A&M, you got to think there's going to be a lot of questions about, is this the year that A&M beats Alabama for the first time since Johnny was here, and puts themselves in contention to win the SEC West? You got to probably be a lot of conversation about expectations and will those be met or not? Probably a few questions about quarterbacks, because there is a quarterback battle, of course, as we all know, at A&M, and to hear what Jimbo has to say about that. And then you got to think too that DeMarvin Leal will get a good amount of questions about the defense and how much hype that the defense is getting coming back. Because if you look around the SEC, it was kind of funny. One of the last questions that Lane Kiffin was asked in the TV media room at the end of the day was, as being the guy that kind of brought this new era of offense into the SEC, a pass happy, lots of scoring type of offense into the SEC. How does he define good defense? And he kind of laughed and said, I mean, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. If they stay under 40, I'm pretty happy. So this A&M really might have the gold standard, the standard bearer of defenses in the SEC. And you got to think that there's going to be a decent amount of questions about that. And then if anybody had been paying attention, you got Jimbo and Nick Saban in the same building and near the same time. And of course, Jimbo had some fun comments over at the Houston Touchdown Club about rear ends and soccer motions when the Aggies played Alabama this year. And you got to think that might be brought up once or twice.
Maybe. Just maybe.
And then, as you mentioned too, you got Mike Leach here as well. You got the Alabama circus, so we'll see how many fans come out outside to see there haven't really been any fans here this year. They moved them from inside to outside due to COVID. It's been rainy, kind of thunderstormy here all week, so that could be part of it. But as well, just not a lot of fans because you had to be outside. You can't really get autographs or be near the players. So curious to see if some of those Alabama fans will still come out and just kind of take things in from outside. And then with Mike Leach, that's the other great personality here at SEC Media Days. Like we said, it's been since Les Miles and Steve Spurrier since there's been that real funny kind of guy that the media can go back and forth with. Now we have Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach here at SEC Media Days, and it'll be great to hear his first go at the reporting core here at SEC Media Days.
Well, before we go, I tried to play Where's Waldo today. I spotted you guys once, but I did my best Seats impression, and I'm wearing my Tommy Bahama shirt. So
nice, very nice. Do you have that? Did you take a picture of that with was it your phone or is it on your computer?
It was on my. I watched it on my computer, but I took the photo on my phone. So
gotcha. Because I'm trying to see here. Maybe for the fans at home, we can see how. Let's see. So if I know we are producing. We're producing on the fly here. Let's see if I can screen share. Let's see, share content. So Alex, tell me about your biggest takeaways from today.
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me, Ole Miss was kind of the team that I really tuned into because they're kind of a peculiar team. They've got a lot of firepower, but they lose a lot on offense. And what stuck out to me is it seems Matt Corral is the guy. And he's a guy. There we go.
Look, can we look at how much disdain that Lane Kiffin has for me in that moment? I mean, Brent, and then we have Brent Zorneman, who looks like he might be about to fall asleep.
Are those pineapples on his shirt?
I think so. Yes, I think that might be pineapples. But yeah, there's just a lot of disdain and just unfortunate daggers being thrown my way in this. So thank you for sharing that, Alex. I appreciate it, getting to experience that and
you're welcome.
See how much
as long as that becomes your new header on Twitter. So
yeah, for sure. Go ahead and finish. Yeah. Now you can finish your thought.
Yeah, but Ole Miss was definitely the one that I was paying most attention to. And, Ole Miss is kind of a team that people are pegging as maybe they're a dark horse. Maybe they're a team that is in line to upset a team like A&M or an LSU that's trying to climb back up to the top. So I'm really curious to see how this Rebels team kind of shakes out, especially considering that's a road game for A&M. And, A&M's kind of had Ole Miss's number the last 3 years, but it hasn't been easy. They've really had to fight for a couple of those wins. So that's kind of what I took away from today.
Definitely. And then you have, of course, you can tell our lovely audience about Matt Corral and his excitement for the A&M game that's coming up.
Yeah, does he not know like A&M's in the same division as them and how scheduling works?
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
go ahead and reset what happened for the group here.
so the lovely Robert Cessna stands up and asks Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral, looking at last year, A&M obviously didn't get to play Ole Miss because the game was postponed and then later canceled due to COVID-19 issues within both programs at different points. And so he said, hey, what are you looking forward to playing A&M? And he kind of turned to the moderator and said, do we even play them this season? Like, are they on our schedule? And he said, yeah, dude. And he said, oh, well, then I'm excited to play them, which is just,
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm
Which
looking forward to
it
it.
was a quick looking forward. Let's close out with this because I'm learning new tricks with my iPad here, and this is exciting for me.
Okay.
So if this works, let's see if I can we can close out the day with a little of, let's see. Can we? I'm sharing my screen. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go over
Okay.
here. Can we see this video?
Try and play it.
Here we go.
Try and play it.
Can we hear this?
All right. You said
This
explain
is the
J-Lo
story.
Okay, I'll set the scene for everybody, right? So I was in the outside of the dressing room because it's all the famous people and the actual commentators right there. And so J-Lo keeps coming in and out. And so my mom, she keeps fangirling and everything. She loves J-Lo, and I'm like, all right, it's not that big of a deal. But in my mind, I'm thinking, it's J-Lo, it's J-Lo, it's J-Lo. I just keep seeing her. And so she's changing because she's performing that day. And so she's changing, she's coming back. And she's walking up the stairs. And I just look up, looking at the stairs, and I look up, and we make complete eye contact. And she winked at me. And I hope that wink was real, because I've been telling this story ever since it happened. But when I tell you I melted, I melted.
Mm-hmm. He melted.
I mean, I would probably melt too. So
there you go. We learned a new trick. We can play clips now on these Zoom hangouts.
We might have to test this a little further tomorrow, especially if we get a good Mike Leach soundbite. So
there you go.
There you go. All right.
Alex,
well,
thanks for hosting.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Be sure to read all of Travis and Cease's content from SEC Media Days on theeagle.com. We'll be back tomorrow full of content covering Texas A&M and their appearance at SEC Media Days.